she was last seen May 12th of 2018, when her shift ended at 5 p.m. She was supposed to go and meet her ex-husband, named Jason, in Hilliard, Florida, the very next day to pick up her kids. They had 3, and they were supposed to be celebrating Mother's Day and Jolene's 34th birthday, which happened on the same day. But Jolene never showed up to pick up her children, and she has never been heard from again. Her mother reported her missing 2 days later on May 14th. 5 days before Jolene vanished, she reportedly had a huge fight with her ex-boyfriend, a man named Jason Gee. And it was such a huge fight that the neighbors called the police. It was a screaming match, and from what people could tell, Jolene did not want Jason to stay at her house because he was wanted by the police for a parole violation. A neighbor told a local news station that they did often fight, but this time was worse than usual. Jolene's screams were louder, and she just seemed a lot more frantic. The neighbor believed that this was because the children were present, and she just wanted it to be over with and wanted him to get out. When the police arrived, Jolene told them that Jason had broken some things inside the house during the argument. He, of course, had run off before the police showed up. He was later arrested and was held without bond as a person of interest in Jolene's disappearance. He was later released. The last person known to have seen Jolene before she went missing was a coworker, a woman named Jennifer Marie Seibert. And she was just another stylist at the salon, but she had only worked there for about a month before all of this happened. When the police went to the station to question Jennifer, when they went to the salon to question Jennifer on May 14th, they realized that she hadn't come to work that day. And so they questioned the salon owner, and they gave the police Jennifer's address, which they quickly realized was fake. It was later believed that when she showed up for work that day, she saw the law enforcement officers at the salon and decided to call quickly and say she could not come in. Either way, the fake address obviously raised some suspicions with the police. These suspicions were further solidified when detective learned from both clients and other employees at the salon that there was quite a bit of tension between Jolene and Jennifer. In fact, Jolene felt like Jennifer was hiding something, even though she couldn't have known her very well since she had only been working there a month. Jolene reportedly told another coworker that she felt that Jennifer was not the person that she said she was, and that she intended to start looking into her background. I wish I knew a little bit more about that, because even if I was suspicious of my coworkers, I'm not going to dig into their background because it's really none of my business. But I don't know. So, during the search for both Jennifer and Jolene, the police find Jolene's car in a Home Depot parking lot, and they didn't find it until Tuesday afternoon. So they go in and they ask for surveillance footage, and it shows the car was dropped off just hours after Jolene was last seen. They found the camera footage showing that the vehicle had been parked around 1:17 in the morning on Sunday. course, they're hoping to see Jolene get out of the car. But who do you think it was? The last person reportedly known to see Jolene, Jennifer Seibert. So they're still looking for her. All they know is the address they have is fake, but they find her on May 16th, sleeping in her own car at a rest stop on the area Interstate 95 in St. Johns County, Florida. I don't have much details about the rest stop, but I read that she was parked between two semi-trucks trying to hide her car. So she was arrested and charged for grand theft auto because the video had shown her driving Jolene's car. She, of course, denied everything. She said she had never been inside Jolene's car and she did not have anything to do with Jolene's disappearance. At the time of her arrest, she had several injuries on her hands, on her arms, on her thighs. She even had a patch of hair missing from her head. She told investigators that she had sustained these injuries while riding a bike. And you can see some of these marks in her mugshot. And to me, it really looks like Jolene fought for her life. Authorities quickly learned that Jennifer had been living under a false name, a false social security number, and that she had false identification. She was a shifty one. She had taken the name Jennifer Marie Seibert from a gravestone of a 16-year-old girl who had died in a car crash in Germany in 1987 and was buried in Butler, Pennsylvania. Jennifer Seibert's real name was Kimberly Lee Kessler, and she had disappeared from Butler, Pennsylvania in 2004, but she wasn't reported missing until 2012. It's an interesting. Anyway, a look into her past revealed she had used at least 17 different alias names, and that she had lived in 33 different cities in 14 different states since 1996, often picking her names from the same grave sites in Butler, Pennsylvania. She was charged with possession of a counterfeit passport, which is a federal offense. When they looked up people that knew her, people described Kimberly Kessler as secretive and paranoid. A man who knew her growing up told a TV station that she was just a little odd. She couldn't hold a job and had gotten accused of stealing from several jobs that she had been at. Clients at the Tangled Salon stated that she was just kind of strange, but it wasn't something that they could really put their finger on. Those who knew Jennifer Seibert, the recent alias, Kimberly Kessler, were surprised. A former neighbor named Maria said, "It's driving me crazy. I just can't believe it." I mean, yeah, she was a loose spirit, but to do something like that, I just don't think she's capable. She must have been very good at convincing people. So, after Kimberly dropped Jolene's car off, authorities learned that she had walked to a nearby gas station. She purchased a bottle of water, and she used an employee's cell phone to call for a cab. The gas station attendant noted she had several scratches on her face that looked like finger marks, and the surveillance footage from the gas station also showed this, and so does her mugshot. He also said that she was incredibly irritable and pretty anxious. He recalled that she did not want him to leave her alone. Like, he tried to go back inside and go back to work, and surfaces all over the salon, including 2 chairs, the walls, cabinets, in the sink drain, on the signboard, on a display stand, the vacuum cleaner, a bleach bottle, and the mop. Now, some of the blood was Jolene's, and some of the blood was Kimberly's. Someone had tried to clean up the scene by mopping the blood off the floor. Police also recovered a blood-stained blue tote bag that Kimberly had thrown into the woods. There was blood found on her sock, her boot, a pair of scissors, and when they investigated a storage locker that Kimberly had rented, all of that blood was proved to be Jolene's. And they also found one of Jolene's fingernails inside a bin in this storage unit. And that really creeped me out. Like, was it her whole fingernail or a part of it that broke off? I don't... that gave me the heaps, and that takes a lot. So, over a week after Jolene had disappeared, Kimberly had searched. A week before Jolene disappeared, Kimberly had searched on her phone about how to tie a tourniquet and how to inject someone with something. She also searched on her phone for the phrase, "coworker guilty of murder, missing person body not found." Yeah, that's not suspicious. She made 457 searches on her phone containing Jolene's name in a 48-hour period. Kimberly bought large-size zip ties at a boating supply store on May 5th. Police also found a Walmart receipt for 30-gallon trash bags, an electric knife, and a bottle of ammonia. When she was interviewed after her arrest, Kimberly appeared calm, saying that she didn't like to keep documents and accounts in her name because she was scared that her ex-fiancé would find her. "He has friends who are computer hackers," she told a detective, "and he has hacked me, and quite frankly, I am surprised I am still alive." She also told the detective that she had considered changing her identity to protect herself, but she claimed it would be too hard. Detectives said, "So it sounds like this identity protective thing that you've got going on." Kimberly said, "It's called the Address Confidentiality Program." The detective says, "Address Confidentiality Program? I'll have to look that up. Sounds like you're in some sort of..." "ACP is what they call it," she interrupted. "Address Confidentiality Program is what they call it. There's an acronym, ACP. I'll look that up." "Please do," she said. "I have the card in my wallet." Girl is crazy. I found it a little strange, but 2 months after Jolene went missing, based on surveillance footage that the police located of Kimberly depositing a white trash bag and emptying the contents of a trash can into a dumpster near Tingles, the weekend of Jolene's disappearance, investigators decided to look for her body in a landfill in Carlton County, Georgia. They used GPS data to track where the certain trash was dumped, and they combed through a mountain of trash the size of a football field. They were looking for this white trash bag, and they wore white suits with respirators, and they searched 12 hours a day in brutal heat, raking away layers of trash, just hoping to find something, anything that would further their investigation and bring closure to the Cummings family. The landfill search concluded on July 13th. suspects. The lead detective on the case said that they waited to search the landfill because they wanted to exhaust all the other leads first. On the last day of the search, Sheriff Lieber said, "There's one person who knows where Jolene is, and that person is in Duval County Jail, and she is not talking." In September 2018, Kimberly Kessler was charged with first-degree premeditated murder in Jolene's case. She pled not guilty, by the way. Now, I found some accounts of previous places that she'd worked. She worked at a place called Woody's as a server, Kimberly, and she was known as a notorious character, and now she's the stuff of local legend, which is terrible. The owner of Woody's said that she didn't know how to talk to people. She was strange and secretive. She said that she had a routine of tucking her long hair into the back of her shirt and wearing a wig to cover it. They talk of her strange habit of ordering a pound of meat and eating it with her fingers. They discuss the incident that led to her quitting. It was a strange episode where Wood had asked Kessler to cut more lemons, and Kimberly screamed at her and stormed out of the restaurant. Like, everybody has bad days, but okay. The fake address that she provided to Tangles was apparently a common thing, because the address that she provided to Woody's barbecue was also fake. The assumption is that she'd been living out of her car. The staff at Woody's said that she would shower at a nearby gym. She would eat meals at the local Salvation Army. She reportedly worked at a Great Clips before she got hired on at Tangles. And when they questioned the employees of Great Clips, they kind of evade the question and say, "We're not supposed to talk about that." Sheriff Lieber says, "We're not quite sure why all of the disguises, or if she has been involved in the disappearance of anyone else before. But it seems like she's definitely running from someone." Her family in Butler County, Pennsylvania, reported Kimberly missing over 10 years before. The police in Pennsylvania have said that her disappearance was suspicious, and they believe that she was simply a person that did not want to be found. Her mother told a news station in Pittsburgh that she believed that Kimberly assumed a fake identity as part of an ongoing effort to locate her son, Evan. The reason behind this is pretty vague and not really clear, but the news channel also says that they believe that Evan died as a baby. Since the interview with her mom, her ex-boyfriend Tim Edwards surfaced to provide his own version of Kimberly's past. He told a news station that Kimberly was living under the name Melissa McKern when he met her in 1997. When their son was born in 1998, she put the name Christina Melissa Brooke on the birth certificate. According to Tim Edwards, he said, "All I know is my side of it. She told me she was trying to avoid her mother, and I guess she's telling her mother and everyone else she's trying to avoid me." Edwards claims Evan was 15 months old when Kimberly had an argument with a neighbor, and the neighbor contacted social services. When a social services representative intervened to remove baby Evan from Kimberly's care, she went to social services with a gun to try to get Evan back from them. Right, because that will work. Kimberly later fled the area before she was arrested, and Tim Edwards was awarded full custody of their son, and Kimberly's parental rights were terminated. So, he's not dead. He's perfectly fine with his dad. The dad she's trying to get away from. Kimberly Kessler is still awaiting trial in Joleen Cummings' murder. Her defense attorney believes that she's incompetent to stand trial, and a psychiatrist agreed. But prosecution is seeking a second opinion. She was declared a high-risk prisoner and initially moved from Duval County Jail right after her arrest because she refused to eat. The sheriff said that Kimberly believed local authorities were trying to poison her food. When she finally appeared in Nassau County Court for hearings, she was wearing a medical mask over her nose and mouth because she apparently refused to submit to the mandatory test for tuberculosis. This was before COVID, so. In March of 2019, she was declared competent for trial after hearing about more than 2 months of observations by the Florida State Hospital psychologist, Graham Dancer, and the staff there. The judge declared her competent. He wrote that her refusal to cooperate with her attorneys is more of a question of her will than her capacity due to mental illness. After this happened, she increased her hunger strike through the summer and fall. She also engaged in an escalating pattern of abuse and volatile behavior towards jail staff. She also stripped off her clothing and spread feces on the jail walls at least twice. In early August, an emergency motion was filed by her attorneys. They said that she was near death following a 56-day hunger strike, and they sought to send her to a psychiatric hospital to prevent her death from starvation. An emaciated Kessler appeared in an anti-suicide smock. She stared at the camera at her October 5th competency hearing and then screamed "F you" at the judge before she walked away. It was dismissed. She wasn't sent to a psychiatric hospital, which is probably why she yelled "F you." Sadly, the Tangles hair salon is now closed. In June, the owner wrote a heartfelt goodbye to the customers and explained that it just wouldn't be the same without Jolene. The sign has been removed, and it can be seen at the time of the interview that I found lying on the floor inside of the building. The name has been scrubbed from the glass, but the letters are still there, faint against the glass. At Woody's barbecue, Jolene's disappearance weighs heavily on the staff. Woody's is in the same shopping center as Tangles was located. Everyone expressed genuine sorrow over the disappearance of the much-admired woman. All accounts of her create an impression that she was a pretty, popular hometown girl, liked by everyone. The 34-year-old was a mother of 3, as I mentioned before, and she had many friends and family in the area. Everyone was very close-knit, according to the Woody's manager. They were like family. Ann Johnson, who is Joleen Cummings' mother, said her daughter's children miss their mother, and she misses the huge smile on her face when she hugged case are similar to those of Jennifer Kessler, or Keys, or however you say it. A young woman and her vehicle go missing. The vehicle is later found abandoned in a parking lot, and surveillance cameras catch the person parking the vehicle and walking away. Both vehicles were reportedly wiped down inside before being abandoned. Kessler's Kessler's general physical description could match that of the person seen walking away from Keys's vehicle. On her wanted poster, Kimberly Kessler is cited to be between 5'3" and 5'5", the exact height range for the person suggested to have been seen abandoning Jennifer Keys's vehicle. Kessler was known to drive a motorcycle and work construction jobs, two suggested possible traits of the person who may have been involved in Jennifer's disappearance. Both Kessler, when she was younger and had lighter hair, and Cummings somewhat physically resemble Jennifer. Blonde, attractive, pointier chin, etc. Kimberly and Jolene had blue eyes, and Jennifer had green eyes that were said to look blue depending on what she was wearing. It's possible Kimberly had intended to steal identities and was looking for women who she physically resembled. If stealing identities wasn't what Kimberly was doing, some reporters suggest that she lashed out at Jolene because she was jealous of her. Perhaps the women's physical similarities made Jennifer a target. Kimberly has used multiple aliases with the first names Jen and Jennifer, and Jennifer Keys's nickname was Jen. Kimberly Kessler spent a lot of time in many Florida cities, including Orlando, where Jennifer Keys lived. Jennifer expressed discomfort and even fear of the construction workers and other people in her building, so she likely wouldn't have opened her door to one of them. But a woman, perhaps she would have been more likely to open her door or talk to a woman, especially if that woman expressed fear or needed help. There was no sign of a struggle or a break-in at her apartment, in the parking lot, or in her vehicle. So it's possible a woman could have seemed non-threatening. Prison photos of Kimberly Kessler since her arrest show her in prison-issue jumpsuits, with her hair parted down the middle, pulled back tightly into a bun or ponytail. Other commenters on this theory have pointed out that in those shapeless clothes with her hair back, her silhouette is reminiscent of what we can make out in the surveillance videos of the person who parked Jennifer Kessler's vehicle. Smaller frame, gender-neutral clothing, possible bun or ponytail, or some people believe a hat. Obviously, there are a couple things that match up and a couple things that don't. The biggest disconnect is that Kimberly knew Jolene and worked with her. A personal connection doesn't exist between Kimberly and Jennifer. We only know that Kimberly was known to live nearby and around Orlando, where Jennifer lived. And I'm unsure if Kimberly had any known connections to Orlando, or the areas where Jennifer lived or the same real or perceived reasons, and decided to attack, whether or not she had planned it. While Kimberly had used stolen identities for years before her arrest, the identities that she had used were reportedly taken from gravestones and not from any other known, living, or missing people. It's possible she planned to kill Jennifer and Jolene and use their identities, but no proof of this exists. So this Redditor says, I realize this theory is probably a stretch, but I thought it was interesting enough to bring up. While there isn't any evidence that Kimberly and Jennifer ever met, I do have a few questions I would like to have answered. Have investigators looked at Kimberly as a possible person of interest in Jennifer's case? Do investigators know where Kimberly was on the days leading up to and including the day that Jennifer went missing? Is there a chance that they encountered one another in those days, weeks, or months leading up to Jennifer's disappearance? Kimberly was known to work construction. Is it possible she was employed by the construction company working on Jennifer's building? There's been a lot of discussion about how this construction company kept poor records of their employees. So perhaps this isn't an answerable question, but I'd imagine that as women, they were not as well respected as construction laborers, and people would remember hiring a woman. That said, it's also possible that she just posed as a construction worker to have access to the building or have a temporary place to stay, as several of the workers were said to have been squatting in the building. So, here's what I think. Beginning with not the connection, just the Jolene and Kimberly case. I definitely think that Kimberly killed Jolene Cummings. I don't know where Jolene's body is, and I find it almost really strange that they have not located her yet, based on the amount of footage they caught Kimberly Kessler on after and before Jolene's disappearance. So she wasn't very good for someone who's using all these different identities and trying to escape people. She wasn't very good at hiding. Obviously, they caught her after 2 days, but maybe she was jealous. Maybe she was trying to assume her identity. I think she's pretty wackadoo. I mean, 18 known aliases. I saw this huge list of potential aliases, and I was like, what? Like, how do you even remember who you're supposed to be? It's crazy. If she was running from her ex, I'm sorry for that, because I've been in that situation, and he always seemed to find me no matter what precautions I took. And then eventually I just stopped running. But I thought that it was coincidental enough to mention the Jennifer Kessler connection, and I almost covered Jennifer Kessler's case in combination with this one, and then Letty put out her video, and I was like, you know what, I'll just send you guys over to Letty's channel, if you're not a subscriber there already, to check out her video for the full details on Jennifer Kessler's case. She mentioned some things that I have not heard in other videos about Jennifer Kessler from other content creators. I'm pretty sure everyone has done that case, and that's why I did it. Man, I don't know about this one, guys. I think that it's pretty not out of the box to think that she was trying to get rid of these women in order to assume their identities. I think that maybe she attacked Jolene in that salon. Jolene definitely fought back hard for her life, as evidenced by the fact that both of their blood was all over that salon. And let me tell you, Kimberly looks like somebody sucked her a good one in her mugshot if you look at it. I don't know if she just managed to overpower her or inject her with something they've not released, if they found any injectables. The whole thing with the storage unit and the bloody clothes and the fingernail. Why would you keep her fingernail? Like, I don't she did it. I don't know why she did it, but I hope that they find Jolene soon for her babies, for her family. I don't really have much hope of her being found alive, living her life somewhere else, as most cases say that that's what happened to people. I don't think that's the case in this one. There was just too much blood. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please check out the Jennifer Kessler case and let me know if you think that Kim Kessler could possibly be the perpetrator in that case as well. Let me know if you think the police should investigate